as the Guardian newspaper, but we would like you to speak all of the headlines down and read the detailed bill this morning in 2 minutes.
Yes, all eyes, all ears, and attention, both from local observers, citizens, and in the international public, are on the court's position on the Presidential Election Tribunal today. This marks the, as they said, the 180 days constitutionally provided for disputes. Okay, so for those who participated in the election at any level, the court's time is up, and they are going to announce, having gone through many trial days and hearings, looking through evidence back and forth from all the parties. Now, what we have was the dispute on the outcome of the election by, I think, about 4 parties, the PDP with Atiku, the LP with Obi, the APM and the AAAP. The last 2, AAAP and the APM's petitions were dismissed by the court. However, both the PDP and LP did petition the outcome by INEC, also petitioning the eligibility of now inaugurated President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, I think that election roughly with about, even though the registration was about 89 million, the outcome was about 8 million by the APC, about 6.9 by the PDP, and about 6.2 by Labour. Now, so much is going on and happening today. Although by record, never has a presidential election that was disputed in court in Nigeria been overturned. So we wait to see whether today will be a difference. However, there are many debates as to what the outcome could be. While some are looking at the fact that it will be the same of the same, some are also believing that the court may order a rerun.
Well, since this is when it is really called sub judice, the verdict will come in so that it doesn't look like we're preempting. Let's just let so in a matter of hours we'll know. Let's stay.
Yes, in a matter of hours. I mean, we're not discussing the outcome. We're just simply saying people are debating what it could be. Now, there are many sides to this story in terms of positions and preparations. Whilst the police and the security forces have said that those who are looking to take advantage or to act in any form of mischief, checkpoints have been allocated around the nation, especially in Abuja, that's the Federal Capital Territory. The PDP yesterday at the Secretariat carried out a prayer session for divine intervention. Really, they were asking people not to despair because there was still hope. Well, if you go by the APC's renewed hope agenda, or renewed share, well, you might also believe that there's hope ahead. Likewise, some other international bodies who have been looking to invest in Nigeria have been waiting for the outcome of this, because usually it's only after the court ruling, because the Labour Party has also said that people should not take to the streets after that. There's still room with the Supreme Court. Now, I have to say this to people, that it's never encouraged. The judiciary has always said it, that we should never look forward to elections being determined by a few men. This is a 5-man tribunal. It's never right, because what 89 million registered voters should have done, which actually reflects the voice of the people, in this case, because it's under disputes, a few men are going to look at the evidence provided before them. The challenge here is that judges, the judiciary only work by the law, and the law is based on the evidence presented. So if you have a weak case, unfortunately, you may lose out simply on technicality. So let's bear this in mind as the sentence is being read this afternoon. It simply means that we have a lot of work to do in revamping, reforming, and ensuring that our electoral process works. This is what Nigerians should take serious, because at the end of the day, 5 men having to look through 100 or 200 or 600 pages of sheets and presentations does not reflect. This is not a case of Vox Populi, Vox Dei. It's not the reflection of the people. Okay, so let's see how it goes in a few hours to come. It's going to be broadcast live, by the way.
Thank you very much, Devoe, for breaking down that headline down from the Guardian newspaper. As we head on to meet Lakunle Yusuf this morning, but we'd like to remind the listener that they can be part of the conversation this morning by sending messages to 0809-444-0981. We expect the messages to come in at 0809-444-0981. Lakunle, this one is staring you in the face, and it's from the Daily Trust newspaper. It's a Lagos-centric paper, Lagos-centric headline, but with a national correlation as we look at it from here. It says, Lagos workers shun NLC as strike hit states. FCT, that's according to the Daily Trust.
Oh, okay. So this strike coincidentally coincides with the day preceding and the day which the Presidential Electoral Petition Tribunal is reading out the result. Some have alluded to some form of conspiracy as to why it coincides with such a day and event. But really, like I've always maintained, I think that a lot of Nigerians maybe are also of that belief. Strikes don't solve any problem. It only complicates them. It is high time we started looking for better ways of conflict resolution. A strike that you have to put men on the street to enforce tells you that it is not a popular decision. I have it on good authority that on those states, for example, people had to be on the offices to make sure that the offices are locked. On the social media, there were various reports from all over the place as of yesterday. Generally, there was no sign that there was anything wrong. There was any call for a strike in Lagos yesterday. I was out in the office. I was out on the streets of Lagos yesterday, and everybody went about their normal businesses. And I would say, by and large, maybe I'm now postulating that in other places where people stayed away from work, stayed at home, and it's not because they wanted to go on strike, but because of the fear of the consequence of if they disobey the strike. That is then the police, the DSS, all of that come out that there's plan to disrupt this. So many people may have stayed away because of that warning, not necessarily because they want to strike. Again, it goes back to the Nigerian Labour Congress, like I always say. You are an organization as big as you are. Where is your strategy committee? Where is your lobby group in National Assembly? Where is your lobby group in the State House of Assembly? Why are you waiting till an event happens before you react? You should be a part of the policy formulation in every way. You should have your own shadow government. You should have your own internal minister for every minister that a government has, so that you have an idea, you have a position, you have a contribution to what they do. You don't wait till they do something and then you react and you tell us to go on strike. There are people in Nigeria today who if they don't go out of their house in one day, they can't feed. Are those the kind of people you want to obey a strike? So when you say that there's a problem, we're always looking at the outcome. We're not looking at the foundation of the problem. And that's where we are, and that's where we have what we have today. So thanks.
Thank you very much, and Lakunle Yusuf, for breaking that down. But let's also bring it to the notice of the listener that there were compliance in states like Edo, Kaduna, Benue, Kano, Jigawa, and Delta, where some of the officials were seen enforcing lockdown in secretariats and all of those areas. But there was there's just a pocket of observance somewhere around Tinkan Island, where the dock workers, the maritime union workers, came out to disrupt activities. We just need to put that out there as reported by this paper also.
Yeah,
that's part of what I was alluding to.
Yes.
If you have to enforce, that means that the strike is not popular.
Okay. So that
not actually.
You do this for us in
yes,
just seconds.
It just simply means that the strike is being pushed by its members. Also, you might also know that apart from Lagos, other states actually did observe it fully. Lagos being a commercial city, I can understand if it doesn't have full compliance.
Okay, so that takes us to your paper this morning. The Punch newspaper looks very punchy with this story, and it's saying, okay, let's head on to the story, and that's Kogi State, and it looks there better days ahead for Ajuwaya, known as coppers, who will eventually become gold or silver or diamond somewhere along the line if they put their minds to it after service. But this is it. From the business, there comes the story that Governor Yaya Bello approves 100% increase in core members' allowance, alawi as it is called in that balance. Do I really want to go back to service now? Why? Or I served too early? But then, Devoe, the story is yours. Break it down for us.
Yes, would I call it happy times for corpers, that's National Youth Service Corps members in Kogi State, when the governor, Yahaya Bello, authorized, and in this case, authorized was not a promise. It means I'm sure it's going to be hitting their accounts within the last week of the month. 100% increase. I think currently they're at 29, if I'm correct.
Is that state?
No, that's federal.
Federal is 33,000.
33. So
the last administration.
What that means now is they will be hitting 66. Now, obviously, he said, given the fact the state of the economy, that the state had to come through for its service corps members. Now, currently, there are about 1,888 corps members, 977 men and 911 women that were sent to Kogi State. And he was asking them to be of good conduct. However, this is like the first state that's acting in this manner for the corps members. In one way, we can also say that this is a good show of leadership by the government in terms of taking care of its own. However, we also know that the eyes of politics is never too far away. Kogi is approaching an election, okay? This governor is on his second tenure, so he's looking at some form of legacy. Now, you know already there's been rancor in Kogi as regards this election, especially within the state governor's party, that's even the APC. And it's come not short of violence, blood, arrest, and even a lot of unknown crimes. So,
Devoe, you hold your thoughts here. When we come back, you conclude because the red light calls for us, and then we go. It's still freshly pressed on Smooth 98.1 FM. I still got Lakunle Yusuf here with me and Devoe Okorie. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. We'll be right back.
ARM is one of the largest non-bank financial institutions with over 29 years of expertise in money management and wealth creation. In those 3 decades, ARM is all
morning.
Your financial goals.
Are you just coming?
No matter who you are.
Yeah, let's load it.
Whether it's growing your money, safe, well-managed investments or important goals like school fees, personal development, vacation.
Some of for us so that we see that so that we can show you the messages. Are you not taking 5? Are you? Is that because?
No, I'll move to 3.
It's on 3 now.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So
We went from 1 to 7. We're finishing 7 now.
So, okay, I thought I was. Right.
Today, by downloading the ARM One app,
Go to message down. Okay, thanks.
great option for everyone. You even start with as low as 1,000 naira. 1,000 naira. For more information, visit arm.com.ng. Call 01-271.
So you close the door. The AC is not on.
01-271-5000.
Thank you.
ARM. Let's face tomorrow together. This is our Space Boy. This is your breakfast show.
Go back.
Okay.
We're Smooth 98.1 FM and still freshly priced. I've got Devoe Okorie still here with me and Lakunle Yusuf still here. So before we went on the break, just that red light for us, it was, you were going to conclude on the thoughts.
Yes, regarding the increase in alawi for corporates in Kogi State, in as much as that's a good act on behalf of helping their own by the state governments, we must not forget the political underlying factors because of the state government election coming very soon. It's one of them out of calendar elections taking place. Now, we also understand that corporates are used as ad hoc staff, especially during state government elections. So this is an appeal and a warning to the corporates in Kogi State to be very careful in their dispensation of their national service. Do not allow yourself to be used or compromised, especially when you are carrying out your duties as ad hoc staff during state government elections. That side of the business, you must be extremely careful so that you don't get caught up. Kogi is a volatile state. We must say that it's a flashpoint. So we don't want to hear stories about any issues with our corporates. We love our corporates. We thank the state government, and we stand by the country. Service to our nation.
That takes us to a place where we get to pick up the messages sent in by the listener. This time we see this one coming in from Ayo, and it's a commendation to the entire team out here. We say thank you very much, Ayo, and then for also getting the name right, also getting the spelling correctly this time. Well, you deserve 100 for that one. Well done. But then to the message, it says, on the enforcement of the strike by NLC in pocket areas in few states, I disagree with Devoe here. Enforcement means forcing the strike on people. It means failed. Simple. That's Ayo_Lagos. Then it goes on with Veronica Uju says, good morning all. Devoe, please, what time is the live broadcast for the judgment? Because I have meetings and I would want to be sneaky during my meeting. Thank you.
No time was given, but look out from 9 o'clock. Television stations will switch.
And then comes in Abbas Oladepo saying, we need to understand that no matter how perfect an election seems to be, there will always be disputes. No elections, so elections do not end at the polls. The earlier we understand this, the better for us in our discussions. This election will not be the first that will be disputed, neither will it be the last when Governor Adeleke goes on to Osun State and then, well, thank you very much, Abbas, for the message. We really do appreciate your contribution every time you come on the show. Now, PJ sensing this one says, on the tribunal ruling, I heard one of the moderators say the analysis of what the ordinary and even eminent Nigerians are saying on the court ruling could be subjudice. And they're analyzing what people are saying is not subjudice. It goes on, we should not be, will not be ruled by a culture of fear and then self-regulates in the media. I think the police should be reorientated against threatening the citizenry for their democratic freedom, including the rights to expression, either by speech or protest. Philip from Egbeda. Ajayi says this one, good morning. For reasons best known to them, supporters of certain political parties have decided to create unprecedented fear. Certain political have decided to create unprecedented tension around the proceedings of the Presidential Election Tribunal. The country is governed by rule of law, and the judiciary is the arbiter of election disputes. Hence, it must be allowed to carry out its duties without any intimidation. Ajayi Olonilua from Magbodo, GRA sharing. Next comes this one. Okay, name. Then Dan Okuda from Igondo sends this one. He says, good morning, the crew. What has changed now that made the election tribunal to approve live broadcasts of proceedings, and then it has initially refused? That was the state. I remember that was what was said, no broadcast. Nigerians are very expectant of the verdict of this court judiciary in the last hope of the common man. That's Barrister Dan Okuda. We have to throw more in because there are lots of it so that we don't leave the message.
One moment. I think that either the 2015 or 2019 election tribunal was also transmitted live. This isn't going to be the first one, so it's not a novel thing. 2015 or 2019, either of them, yeah.
This one comes in. The current NLC leadership is too political. They will not succeed in their political adventure. Shegun sent in that one. Yinka Bolu, good morning, gentlemen. CNLC can go on whatever manner of strike they want to embark on, and that's their headache. By the way, have you guys seen Ajaro's office? Please search for it. Now, please, what we shouldn't condone is the union shutting down electricity. That's pure treason, and the DSS needs to arrest some people. By the way, there was no strike in Lagos because everything went normal by around its axis. Let's ask ourselves why the TUC backed out of the strike, because it makes no sense, not at all. Cisco Delgado, good morning, Lakunle. God bless you guys. Real good for that opinion. I keep saying that the NLC is never serious about striking action, which at the end won't achieve anything. Messages for him, but papers to be attended to. Lakunle, this year's for you. This one comes in. Senate set to amend law on cross-border trade from the Vanguard newspaper.
Okay, so two things quickly came out of that story for me. One, the cultural nature of the border people that we're talking about. Two, the many cross-border inter-country economic region agreements that we have signed. Okay, maybe then the third one, the social lives of the people around the border and whatever. So quickly, the cultural nature of those people. So we had a past president who says he had cousins from another village just across the border from us. We had another president who once asked us a question, a rhetorical question, who says, how do you arrest a man whose frontage of his house is in Nigeria and his backyard is in Benin Republic? The people along the border in the southwestern people of Nigeria are Yorubas. The people in the eastern borders of Benin Republic to us, they are Yoruba as well. The people in the northern region of Nigeria are Hausa Fulani. The ones just across the border to the north are also part of them. Same thing when you go to the southeast, the south-south area, the Cross River and Akwa Ibom. There are many things that these people have in common, right? There are intermarriages among them. So how do you regulate those movements? That's one. Two, the economic activities of those places. A man whose market is in Benin Republic, the market in Benin Republic, for example, is closer to him than the market in Nigeria. Which one does he go to of the two? So those are little things. Then how does this affect the economic region things, the AFTA, the ECOWAS, the AU? How will these policies affect these things if they make these policies? Then the bit of it that is social, then is the item that was mentioned that custom and excise and the people of those places fight, they kill each other, blah, blah, blah. And I find that very disturbing. And why would that happen? Us, the people ourselves, we need to be circumspect of actions we take. So, for example, there is a rule or law in Nigeria that says that you cannot own a petrol station, or cannot operate a filling station within a 20-kilometer radius of a Nigerian border. So it means that everybody who lives from kilometer 0 to 20 will suffer because they have to make that journey to buy fuel for their use, right? That makes it a 40-kilometer round trip. And that's a cost to them as well. And why was this law made? It was because people who are in that kilometer 0 to 20 who have filling stations, rather than sell to Nigerians at Nigerian rates, they sell to the market that is closer to them across the border at an exorbitant rate. So you see, so that's why I said, us the people ourselves, we have to be circumspect about the things we do. It's good also that we are thinking about making these laws, but we should take all of these things into totality. It's good that the members of the House of Reps have gone to meet people in those kind of places to hear them, to hear their thinking, how they want to do so that they can also put that into the policy. We'll see how we go. Just follow up with it.
Thank you very much, Lakunle. Let's quickly get this one as we pick up speed now. As we wrap up now, let's get this one in from the Punch newspaper. Nigeria's energy transition plan requires $17.7 billion annually. That's President Tinubu being quoted there.
Yes, President Tinubu was speaking through the environmental minister who was at the Presidential Day program on African Climate Summit held in Kenya, where other African countries, their presidents were present on this behalf. As you know, the president is in India with a team for the G20 summit. Essentially, what they're saying for Nigeria to achieve this energy transition, it will require about $17 billion annually. Now, this energy transition is speaking about how countries have decided to achieve net zero emissions. Net zero refers to cutting down on greenhouse gas emissions to close to zero as possible. That's usually all the gases that come from industrial companies, all those smoky cars that are driving on the road and pushing carbon into the air. Now, let's make this simple. The president has, I like the fact that he's summarized it most times, especially when he's speaking to the international public. You can't create a problem for the world, and he's speaking to the the advanced nations who are well industrialized, and then ask Africa to actually work with you to resolve it. If this is going to happen, you're going to have to support us. And that's where they were seeking private public partnerships where financing can come from international donors actually to be able to address this. Now, what is important here is that Nigeria, yes, is an oil and gas nation. And for whatever amount of oil that we have 14 times the reservoir in gas. Instead of discussing energy transition, we should be discussing the implementation of the gas master plan. Number one on the gas master plan is pushing gas to all areas in Nigeria. We currently export through the Nigerian LNG. However, we as citizens don't even enjoy this abundance of natural resource that we have. And gas is clean energy. Nigerian gas is even one of the cleanest in the world, meaning it requires very little refining. That's how blessed we are. But you see, it becomes a curse because we've not been able to appropriate that for citizens to enjoy. And it's a cheaper fuel than fuel. As you can see, we're bearing the heavy weight of imported petroleum pricing. So why not use what we have in our backyard? So that's the master plan I want the government to work on. Whilst we give ourselves what we have, we export the rest and make even more scarce effects for the nation. That's how you grow a country.
All right, thank you very much. For anyone who's imagining what you mean by gas being a clean source of energy, except if you can afford it, is that just take a look at, cast your mind back to when you use kerosene stove and look at the ceiling of that kitchen, for example, the fumes, and see how over time it blackens it. Then you would understand, or probably look at what firewood does to the lungs.
Right.
And when you ignite your gas cooker, you don't even feel anything. It just comes. You just breathe well.
At least as long as the top is proper, it will come out blue. That flame does not reduces very minimum amounts of carbon into the atmosphere.
Okay, well, let's get back to the message as we wrap up this morning. That's almost the time we can take this morning. Let's see this one coming in from Ajayi Olonilowa from Magodo. He says, good morning. There is a community in Ogun State where half of it is Benin Republic and the other half is Nigeria. And that's in response to what you mentioned, that we must consider these things when we make law, according to that story from the Vanguard newspaper. And then we see a message from Victor Shegun. We see a message where you say every election dispute comes with its own peculiarities. Let's not use the cases of the past to preempt judgment. I see Jane Nisha also. Good morning, everyone. Nigerian leaders hardly think of using the mineral resources for Nigeria. It's just sad. And then the message, PJ, I see your message. Victor Shewan, I see your message. James, Austin, I see. Okay, it says, PJ says gas is only clean after the process. Natural gas also emits methane, and which is worse than carbon. Well, thank you very much for that. But oops, we have to go right now. Well, Lakunle, Yusuf, I want to say thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I want to say thank you to Devoe Okorie for your time also. You know, your Yoruba is getting into that Queen's level now. It sounds really nice. Well, that's I may copy you. I'll maybe give you some classes some other time. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. Good morning.
Devoe. Devoe.
You go there here, do you want to announce?
I want to say, if I sit there around, I may not be around.
Okay.
Because I need to go deep into the afternoon.
Sure.
I can go deep into the afternoon.
Well, I think they'll announce early this morning.
Yeah, I think so. Because I know there will be a minority. There will be a minority.